Hi, everyone, and happy Friday. Happy last day of Earth Week. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Debbie List, and I'm the head of global sustainability here at Intuit. On behalf of the corporate responsibility team, we are so excited to host this virtual small biz pop-up and hear from three amazing eco-conscious businesses. This pop-up concludes Intuit's Earth Week programming, so hopefully you were able to join and participate in the events and activities happening throughout the week, or catch the recaps on our social channels and Sustainability Insight page. So to get serious for a minute, climate change is one of the biggest challenges of our time. And while there's often talk about the impacts as being way into the future, that future has arrived. We're already seeing the catastrophic effects. Where I live here in California, scientists estimate that human-caused climate change has already doubled the area of forests burned in recent decades, while communities across the globe are experiencing other effects like drought, sea level rise, altered farming conditions, and more. But it's not too late. If we stopped emitting greenhouse gases today, the rise in global temperatures would begin to flatten in a few years, and much of the impact could be avoided. So it's up to us as individuals, communities, businesses, and governments to take action against climate change. That's why Intuit declared science-based net zero emission targets aiming to reduce our operational and supply chain greenhouse gas emissions to effectively zero by 2040, as well as drive climate action beyond our value chain in the communities we serve. At Intuit, our mission is to power prosperity around the world, and we know that climate change severely impacts opportunities for our communities, our customers, and you, our employees, to prosper. The work we do together is going to play a major part in all of this. That's why we're excited to share with you the stories of these three incredible businesses that have taken it upon themselves to have a positive impact on the planet through the products they create, the way they run their businesses, and more. You can choose to support businesses like these and lower your own environmental impact starting today. Because here at Intuit, we celebrate Earth Day every day. And I'll just leave you with this. Environmentalist Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world." Indeed, that's the only thing that ever has. So before I introduce our customers today, let's take a moment to commit to taking climate positive action. We can all make a difference by making small changes in our daily lives, supporting eco-conscious businesses like the ones we will hear from today, and advocating for policies and practices that prioritize the health of our planet. Thank you for joining us today and for being part of the solution. So please join me in welcoming our customers for today. We have Cindy, the founder of LooHoo, Bjorn, the founder of BjornQorn, and Shauna, the founder of Coco and Seed. I had the opportunity to try each one of their products, and let me tell y'all, these products are awesome. My 7-year-old and I had so much fun planting our baby watermelon plant, and I know he is excited to see how it grows. He tells me every day from Coco and Seed, so just an awesome product. And thank you to Shauna. And Bjorn, as you're sharing your story, I will be munching on BjornQorn in the background. And then Cindy, I would share a visual of one of your colorful dryer balls, but they're actually being put to use in my dryer right now. So for all of you joining us today, if you want to purchase your own products, you can find the link on the website posted in the Zoom chat. In a few minutes, Dave Cesada, Intuit's Vice President of Corporate Responsibility, will interview these amazing customers to help us learn from their journey, how they run their businesses, and why sustainability is important to them. Before we get started, here are a few things to note. We want to make sure we answer your questions for each business, so please post your questions in Zoom using the Q&A feature at the bottom, and we will get to them during our time together. So thanks again, everyone, for being here. I'm now going to turn it over to Dave for today's pop-up. Dave, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Debbie, and appreciate the opportunity to be back for, I think it's the third year in a row to host this particular event. So this is always one of my most favorite things to do every year, and just commend you and the broader team on just the amazing work you've done, not only during Earth Week, but throughout the entire year to help us as an organization have a positive impact on climate. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dave Zazada, and I lead corporate responsibility at Intuit, which includes supporting our work around job creation and job readiness and underserved communities, as well as supporting the inspirational work that Debbie and her team do to have a positive impact on climate. Now, Cindy, Bjorn, and Tashana are all eager to hear more about you, your business, and the story that are behind it. So let's just jump right in. So we'd love to learn more about the moment each of you knew you wanted to start your business and why. So Cindy, let's go ahead and start with you.
Sure, thanks. I was pregnant 15 years ago and wanted to create a natural, healthier home for this soon-to-be newborn that was going to be joining us, and really looked at laundry to start, and saw how many chemicals and toxic things were in a lot of these products. And so did some research about what a wool dryer ball was. It was still a fairly new concept and not very familiar with a lot of people. And there was also not a lot of companies supplying stores with wool dryer balls. And so that was definitely a moment for me. I knew that with the newborn that I would be changing my schedule, certainly, and even just changing work in general. And so that was just, it all kind of came together with this product idea, and then just having that change in life as well, that really stimulated the path for me.
Okay, well, you have to tell us how you came up with the name.
So LooHoo is a nickname. I think anybody named Cindy in the last 50 years was called Cindy LooHoo at one point or another. And my family always called me that growing up. And my sisters suggested the name, calling the business LooHoo, and I was absolutely mortified and said no. And about 2 months later, I circled back around after trying to test out so many other names, but of course that one was just the best. And so it's always fun, especially around Christmas time. I get a lot of emails and people are like, oh, I get it now, Cindy Lou Who from the Grinch. So yeah.
All right, great. All right, let's turn to Tashana. Same question for you.
Okay, hi. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So yeah, I started mine because I wanted a hobby. This was around 2009 is when I kind of started it, but it didn't launch until like 2013. So it took a lot of trial and error. I live in Arizona. It's so dry. There's really nothing that grows, it seems like. So I tried growing outside. The case of like not having a green thumb, if that's you, I totally get it. Everything would just not make it. So finally, I discovered a hybrid technique of hydroponics. And so I started growing in mason jars. You can kind of see the basil right there, the lettuce that I have growing right here. And it finally worked, as you can see. So once I started growing some edible greens and fruits and things, I figured if other people were having the same problem I was, which not growing anything, to being able to grow indoors on your windowsill because it's climate controlled inside. So that is working in your favor. And so as soon as I discovered that, the rest was history. And it was just, I still have so much fun experimenting and having a good time. And the name Coco and Seed is because I wanted to make it simple. So the main growing medium is coconut coir, which is the husk of the coconut, and a seed. And that's really, I mean, and water, but that's really all you need to get growing. You don't have to complicate it with grow zones and frost and soil tests and all that stuff. So that's kind of how I started my business.
Did you have to experiment multiple times before you actually came up with ultimately, I think you had kind of like initially two successful solutions. Did you have to experiment quite a bit to get there, or was it pretty easy?
I did test the two different ones, the soil kit and the hydroponic one. I tested with different things, different seeds, different growing mediums, different everything, and I documented it and wrote everything down, and it didn't take long. And that was the encouraging thing is I figured it out, and then the fun began of what can I grow? So yeah, it's been an easygoing journey for growing as soon as I figured it out.
Awesome. All right, Bjorn, you're up.
Hi. The moments that I started my business or when I thought about it, there are two distinct ones I can think of. So I'm from a corn farm in Minnesota. The corn you see behind me is the corn that grows along the side of our driveway. It's pretty far out there in a very rural area. And I ended up going to Bard College in New York, and I brought like this recipe for seasoned popcorn to school because we ate popcorn a lot growing up, like even for like Sunday night dinner was popcorn. And the recipe that I brought to school was popcorn seasoned with nutritional yeast. And I got known for making this popcorn for people there, and people started calling it BjornQorn. And then one day when I was coming back from a break, I was driving to Minneapolis and thinking about my future and how I kind of fit together the various aspects of my life. I wasn't taking over the family farm in a traditional way. And I was thinking about all the issues related to monoculture and how everything had become corn and soybeans out there. And none of it was really being grown for human food. And I had this idea that I could start a business with BjornQorn, have have it be grown on my family land as a way to leverage that reality in my life and bring it back into food for people, and then also create this business that is still kind of uh, fun and creative and artistic, because I had been studying music and I was a performer, and I was just trying to put it all together. And so we try to maintain that today. And then the other time was about 10 years after college. I hadn't started the business yet, and my college friend came to me, who was an artist and inventor, and suggested that we start the business together using his solar ovens that he had been designing at this art gallery. And so we met with a game of catch in Central Park. He suggested to me what we do. I was like, "That's crazy. Let's do it." And that was about 12 years ago, and we've been growing it ever since.
It's such an awesome story. And I was interested to kind of hear how a son of a Minnesota corn farmer also then started to use solar. So it was your friend who is your partner in the business, if I understand correctly, that really brought that element to the business. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. He was working on solar thermal cooking, so literally reflecting sunlight, and he needed something that was a short term or a short timed cooking process to test it with. And so he thought of me, and I had this popcorn business I'd always wanted to start. I knew I was going to do it. I just didn't understand exactly the parameters of what the business would become. And it's just great to have a partner. So I was happy to work with him on that.
Awesome. All right, Cindy, let's go back to you. I'd love to know what you love most about running your business, and also tell us where you sell your products, of course, as well.
Sure. Um, what I love most, just being a business owner, having a flexible schedule, I think is essential, especially raising a son and just being able to be different places, the thousand different places that you need to be for children. I think that that's always such a benefit to being a business owner. And then also, I love engaging with our customers at shows and things like that. It's amazing the stories that people will share, especially when it comes to laundry. It's something so familiar for everybody. And so just the sometimes the couples or the families or the kids that will come up and share with me different things about laundry, and we'll talk for a little while. It's always a wonderful thing and a lot of fun. And our products are sold through our website. And then also we attend a number of shows, usually in the New England area throughout the year. And then also we work with about 250 retailers nationwide. And you can see that on our website, a little retailer map. So hopefully you'll be able to easily find a store close to you.
So great. All right, Tishana, you're a few years in now with the business, and so curious, what's the one thing you wish you knew when you first started it all the way back in, I think it was 2013 or so?
Yeah, I I wish I knew it was more than just making something and selling it. I just laugh because I didn't go to business school or anything like that. I actually went for design and advertising. And so never took an accounting class, never took a business class, any of that stuff. And so when I wanted to start this share in the struggle of gardening and share it with other people, I thought, oh, I can just make it and, build it and they will come. But it ended up being a lot more of, expenses and, you know, uh, research and just so many things that nobody really tells you. And I have friends and family who are like, oh, yeah, I want to start something. It's like, okay, well, be prepared because it's more than just having something and selling it. It's a whole slew of things, which I do want to add. Having QuickBooks self-employed, very, very helpful because I didn't know about, taking pictures of your receipts and your mileage and all that stuff. So I wish I knew that it was more than just make and sell, that it's just a whole slew of different things. But then again, that's what makes it so fun because you're not just doing the same thing every day. You're experimenting with different seeds and you're designing packaging and you're taking photos. So it's a whole fun journey.
So what was harder, learning how to develop the product line or learning how to manage your books?
Manage my books, absolutely.
Well, you're not
But
alone.
but the app is great because I can just click and say like, yeah, I did this is an expense, this is where I went, tracking my mileage, like a lifesaver because that's like the last thing I want to focus on. I'm not that left-brained, I'm more right-brained. So yeah.
Well, congrats on figuring it out and having a thriving business after you've made it past the hurdle in terms of time, in terms of when many small businesses fail, and you've obviously done an awesome job getting your arms around how to manage your book. So good for you. All right, Bjorn,
Thank you.
what challenges did you face when you started your business, and how would you compare them to the challenges that you face in your business today?
Yeah, well, entering a field like food manufacturing, you end up in a place that is hard to Google, and you have to learn terms that are only found through talking to people. And as you kind of unpeel that onion and figure out what the machines are called and um, how to find the right packaging material, you were just kind of slowly learning something every day, and that was hard to figure out. Also, just we started this business, just my partner and I, and for many years we had to do everything. So I would be popping the popcorn, I would be packaging the popcorn, I'd be delivering the popcorn, I um, was doing all the communications, sales, bookkeeping, everything, and that was hard. Today, managing employees is extremely hard. Trying to keep a happy workforce is is very hard, and also just keeping up with like compliance issues and like trying to up our game in that regard, because as you get bigger, more is expected of you, and then also trying to do this all while raising kids. It is a great being an entrepreneur is great for having kids because you have so much flexibility, but it also can invade all moments of your life too. So that's the hard struggle.
Awesome, great. All right, Cindy, we're going to go back to you and would love to know how you use your platform to educate consumers on important topics. And I'm interested in particular in hearing your response on this, because having kind of read a little bit about how you started the business and just kind of how much you cared as you were pregnant about how you wanted to, raise your child, and you were very self-conscious about everything kind of around your environment. So, I mean, you care deeply about kind of sustainability. So, so would love to kind of hear how you speak about that, based on the platform that you have.
Absolutely. It is something so important to us. And years ago, in the beginning of the business, we really sat down and looked at what we were really doing. And even though it's a wool dryer ball that we're selling, uh, the whole message behind it is just helping people create a natural, healthier home. And that's basically our whole messaging around what we're doing with our marketing through our e-blasts and things like that, where we're always trying to communicate other ways beyond just laundry, beyond just wool dryer balls, about how to make your home just a healthier environment so your family, so you can thrive. And that is so essential to what we've been doing. Everything that all the decisions that we make, it's always around making sure that the health and wellness of families are taken into consideration, and that's the forefront of what we're always doing and what we're trying to convey to other people, because it's possible. It's just a little daunting sometimes when there's so many choices out there and you don't even know where to begin. But starting small and just continuing from there is always available to you.
Yeah, it's such a great message. Even like in our own team here at Intuit this past week, um, Debbie and Charlie have been running a challenge across our whole corporate responsibility team, where we're all kind of competing to see who can have the biggest impact on the environment throughout the week. And we're tracking, and of course, everyone on our team loves a little bit of competitiveness. But what struck me is consistent with what you said, how just little things that we can do. They gave us kind of coaching in terms of, hey, here's different things you can do, from not using so much water, when you're showering, or not, always washing your clothes in water. There's like a variety of different suggestions that they gave us. And as we all were kind of like, then tracking what we had done through the week, it was like surprising just how many little things you can do that can make a difference. So, consistent with what you were saying. So anyway, all right. Tishana, so if you could let us all know what your mission really was at the start of the company, and has that mission changed at all over time, or has it been consistent?
Yeah, in the beginning, it was just to get people confident in gardening, the whole green thumb thing. Everybody has one, believe me, believe me. And it was just trying to get people to believe and be confident in themselves and their growing ability. And I still think that's the mission. But it's also, you don't have to have a big backyard. So you can rule that out. You can use a windowsill. You can, grow these in a van if you're into van life. Um, you don't need much to be able to grow. And now I think it's have fun with growing. So it's not just what can I grow, it's how can I use this product. I showed you my lettuce earlier, and I love salads. So I grow what I eat, and I always encourage people to grow what you eat. Basil is the most popular thing, and it can be used in so many ways. So you can grow it. Why not, make some pesto? But you can also do different things with it. It doesn't have to be pesto. It can be, making a simple syrup with your basil so you can sweeten your lemonades this summer. You can use it as, if you have an upset stomach, you can use that as a tea, or you can put it on your pizza because it balances out the acidity. Like, I just want people to learn more about what these herbs and greens and fruits can do for you, but while also reminding you it doesn't have to be difficult either.
So, all right, great. How about Bjorn? Now, I'd love to ask you what advice you could give someone who's, thinking about wanting to make their own business more sustainable based on what you've learned.
Well, it's an exciting thing because as a business, you can have a greater impact than you can as an individual. So um, I just recommend just analyzing every step of your process in the lens of sustainability, because if you have a new idea or a change in how you do things, that um, really compounds in a big way. And the bigger you get, the bigger those, you know, the bigger those changes have an effect. I also think that building that sustainability into your brand is a good thing to do, because that becomes your guiding light in a way. It's not just something that's tacked on. Um, it's not greenwashing. It's part of who you are, and that helps you make decisions as you go. And also, there are going to be times that where you can't make the best decision. Maybe those options aren't available yet. Maybe you thought you were able to do something, you can't. So you do the best you can. You try not to feel paralyzed, and as long as you stay in the game, you'll be ready when those new options are available.
To build on that, and how you were just speaking about how you kind of integrate sustainability into your business. In addition, this is a question for each of you. In addition to the products you sell, can you speak about any other ways, you operate your business, your own business more sustainably? And Cindy, why don't we start with you on that question?
Sure. So plastic-free packaging was one thing that we've committed to in the beginning. And it's interesting because even when Bjorn was talking about really looking at all those different aspects, a few years back, we looked at the tape and it was plastic tape that we were using. And so changing to just a paper tape and making those little adjustments here and there as you go along and as you start to really look at so many different aspects of it. The other thing is that we source our material, our raw material, from a, a place in Maine, and so we're based in Maine as well. And so just to be able to have it fairly close by, where it's not making a move across the country or across the world, in order for us to create our main product is such a wonderful thing that we've been able to do.
Right. And Bjorn, I know you talked about how you utilize solar even in the creation, of the product, but anything more that you would share you know, about how you operate your business, with sustainability in mind?
Yeah. One of the downsides to operating a snack food business is the reliance we do have on plastic to keep things crunchy. At this point, it's kind of one of the only options. And so to help offset that, we have a business program with TerraCycle, which can recycle hard to recycle plastics. And so um, the waste in our own facility gets baled up and onto pallets, and then occasionally shipped out TerraCycle to process into different materials. So that's one way you try to offset that. And then also just trying to have as many partnerships as we can with other sustainable businesses. If like the SunPower solar company is having a film festival, we donate popcorn um, for the visitors of that, and trying to integrate with like-minded businesses any chance we can.
All right, great. How about Tishana? Same question to you as it relates to how you incorporate sustainability in the operation of the business.
Yeah. I just want to say I love the popcorn in the movie theater, like the film festival idea. Yeah, so for me, it's a couple things. One is I use compostable packaging from a company called Elevate Packaging. They're wonderful. And I use that for just packaging up smaller items, bigger items, just everything in between. They have great solutions so that you can feel more comfortable with throwing them away, and they're going to be, taken care of and not just building up waste. I've also have lighter packaging that's less material to recycle now. So now they're kind of, I don't know if you can see, this one. It's like much thinner now, and it's also dual purpose. So instead of having more inserts and things, I have instructions and things on the back and ways to learn about how to use it, what it's for. And I've chosen glass for a reason instead of plastic for the garden kits, just because you can reuse it when you're done. You can plant something new, or you can use it as a mug and drink water out of that. We all love mason jars for different purposes. So, or just canning. Right now I'm growing a cucumber. So once that's done growing, I'm gonna use that same jar to pickle it so I can make some pickles. But yeah, just like different things to reuse, and just using that whole concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle, all about that.
That's great. All right. So you each just talked about how you incorporate sustainability into the managing of your own business. So now the next question for all three of you is any interesting ways you've actually worked with or perhaps inspired or coached other business owners that you know in terms of how they can be, more progressive and kind of sustainability activities for their businesses? And again, let's go ahead and start with you, Cindy.
Sure. So I love talking to other businesses. I think it's one of my favorite things to do, and just hopefully sharing what I've learned over the years. But the whole less is more thing, I think, is such a crucial thing. Like just like what Tashana was saying, like you don't need to have a card and another card and another card within your packaging. It could be a little bit more simplified in order to be a little bit more sustainable. And just giving people other options as well, different types of packaging. There's so many wonderful, completely recycled packaging places and things like that, where just having them know or letting them know that all these options are really out there, just as long as you're willing to do the research and look, or ask those business people who have already kind of gone through all the research part of it for that help.
Have you found as you've done that, does it add a lot of cost, to your cost of goods to do the right thing in terms of how you're, like your example was with packaging, or are you finding that it's not really a significant additional cost? It's just doing the research.
I think a lot of times, initially there might have been a bigger difference, but then maybe finding that competitive place to work with does lessen that burden. But definitely, a lot of those things do cost maybe a little bit more, but hopefully you're using less paper in the process or using less of this, and so balancing it out in different ways.
Okay, great. All right, Bjorn, same question to you. Any stories about how you might work with other business owners about how to be more sustainable?
Yeah, well, pointing people towards solar installers and talking about the value of that, even the financial value in the incentives, especially here in New York, there are additional incentives besides the federal ones. Just letting people know that it's kind of a no-brainer for their business. That on the one hand. And then similarly, how to reduce your packaging use, because a lot of people use stock products for maybe longer than they need to. And going into custom boxes and bags, optimizing your space usage is both a sustainable change, and also can help you save money because you're not buying all of this paper that you didn't need or plastic that you didn't need. So there are efficiencies to be gained there. But yeah, I'm always interested in talking to other businesses and learning about what they do, or like maybe even how to compost, how to get in touch with like a composting facility that can take your food waste, for example. That's another thing that we do at our business. All of our popcorn scraps go to this local composter, and that gets turned into compost that then I buy for my garden. So it's kind of a neat circle.
Right, great. Tashana, how about you?
Yeah, I feel like I've found being more sustainable or sharing that with businesses is actually the other way around. So I love Elevate packaging, and I tell people about it and I post it, on social media and things like that. And from there, I kind of hear what other people are saying. So that was one of the reasons I reduced my own packaging and redesigned it, because um, when you, let's say you have so many kits, that's going to be a lot of waste. And I've heard people saying they like less packaging. So it's kind of hearing what other people are saying too, along with what other businesses might want to do. They might want to be a little bit more sustainable, but it can be hard to find out information. So it's nice to like have a community of people on social media or around you that kind of have ideas or ins and outs or feedback for you.
You know, listening to you all kind of talk about just how important sustainability is to you, and also kind of recognizing that you're all in, you're in competitive industries, right? You're not the only product in your space, especially Bjorn, I can probably relate to yours the most because I feel like I'm a popcorn connoisseur. We eat popcorn for dinner, like Debbie had mentioned, I think, on a regular basis. So I'm curious for each of you, do you find that, because you also do a great job on your websites, kind of leaning into telling your story and how sustainability is part of your story. And so I'm curious, do you find that that has been a differentiator for you, in crowded spaces, that you're in? And maybe Bjorn, I could start with you, because obviously there's lots of different options for individuals who want to buy popcorn. So do you feel like that's differentiated you and brought you customers who are loyal to you because of kind of your approach?
Yeah, definitely. The snack food aisle is cutthroat. There is there are a lot of options there, and frequently you can't get on shelves because of space limitations. But yeah, when you focus on your story, you sort of stop thinking about your competitors because you are selling more than just your product. And so people feel ownership of what you're offering them, and they like to tell, they like, it's all organic marketing. We don't do a lot of marketing. We just try to be as interesting as we can so that people will talk about it. And that's what they do. And there are so many people that say like, oh, I grew up putting Nutrition Yeast on my popcorn. I never thought there'd be so many people that grew up eating Nutrition Yeast on their popcorn, considering how infrequent it was to find back before we started. But people come out of the woodwork and they love that part of the story, and they love the solar and the family farm and the packaging design, and it all becomes a big idea that they're buying.
Right. How about you, Cindy? Just curious, have you been able to, maybe not intentionally, because I know that your intentions are pure in terms of kind of the way you embrace the importance around having a positive impact on climate, but do you find that it's a differentiator in your space?
I definitely think it is. We're one of very few wool dryer ball companies that are made in the US. And so for all these other ones that are coming from overseas, we're really trying to just let people know that this is such an important thing, that there's a manufacturer right here in the state of Maine that are making these, instead of having them come from pretty far away. But I think similar to Bjorn, it really is just about being authentic and having like that your story as a part of the business. And just like you were saying as well, embodying your brand. And I think like that's always just been the way that I have been raised. I grew up on a farm. That corn behind you is very familiar. And so it's just it's all a part of it. And I think like people are more apt just to engage in that story the more that you're sharing with them. And I think just as long as you're authentic and you're really spreading your message in that positive way, I think people really resonate with that.
Right. Tishana, same question to you. Just curious, have you been able to leverage your story to differentiate?
I think the struggle is something that we can all get behind when it comes, well, majority of people. Gardening isn't always the easiest thing. And so I think it's, what Bjorn and Cindy had said already, which is connecting with the audience because of your story and being relatable. And I think sometimes we can create a vacuum of people who are into the same things we are, which is sustainability. Like you want to garden, but maybe you don't have the space. So like, what can you do? And so, and then, they might be big on growing their own, which is it's a big subculture of people. And it's just that human connection I think is the biggest thing when it comes to being a differentiator, because I am somebody who can relate to hopefully you who struggles as well, and we can connect just on that. And then it's like, oh, you like recycling? Yeah. Do you like this? And so just telling our stories.
Great. All right, just a few final questions, kind of rapid fire. Bjorn, you're up first. So you've got a number of flavors. You've got classic, cloudy, earth, maple, spicy, which would love to also understand how you came up with those specific flavors and name them. But what's your most popular flavor, and what kind of inspires new flavors as you come up with them? And if you have anything you can show, that would be awesome.
Yeah, well, classic is by far our best-selling flavor. It's originally that was the whole business was just based on this flavor. We were going to be a singular flavor popcorn company instead of getting super fancy and getting pomegranate this and that. We didn't want to go. We wanted to be very clear about what we were offering. And it is still the workhorse of our company. It sells double what anything else does. But we try to make kind of subtle variations. We add spice to make the spicy is just adding kind of a blend of jalapeno spices to the classic popcorn. That turned out really well. The cloudy was an interesting one because that's a reference to the our solar cooking method, where when the clouds would interrupt our batches, the batch would go too long and it would get too roasted for our classic flavor. But then we keep it aside and salt it, and we called it cloudy corn. And eventually we released that and kind of simulated that process. Yeah, and then we have maple. That's a collaboration with a local maple syrup company. We use maple sugar on that. It's kind of like a very light kettle corn kind of thing, salty and sweet. And then the earth truffle popcorn is super popular. That came out last year. And soon we'll have we're working on some new ones, and we had a recent one called Ruby that was a collaboration with the hibiscus water company, and that was a kind of a red popcorn, hibiscus seasoned, tasted like a salt and vinegar chip a little bit. It was really good. So we'll probably put that out sometime this summer or fall.
That's great. Going to definitely expand my popcorn palette based on what I've learned from you. That's for sure. All right, Tashana, how about you? What's your bestseller? If you happen to have something near you that you wanna show, that'd be great too. But curious what your bestseller is.
Okay, yeah, I would say, so this one is a couple weeks old. It's still growing. They typically get about a couple feet. It's basil, and this is what the roots look like. So it has plenty of room to grow. I love basil as well, and definitely a bestseller. And it smells amazing. Okay, I wish you could smell it. And also, I would say the lettuce is another popular one, and just because you can use it in so many different ways, and I am guilty of just taking a bite off of it sometimes. Yeah, and then some things that I like to experiment with. I love to show the roots if you don't mind, but this one, I'm trying peas. So I've tried peas many times, and so this one so far is the most successful. It's a royal snap, so it's a purple pea, which is really cool. And again, the roots, if a moment for the roots. So here are the peas. Yeah, so I would say basil, lettuce, and tomato. Tomato is definitely, those are the top three.
And your business started because you didn't think you had a green thumb or you had trouble?
Trust me, these plants right here, even though they're fairly young, they're not ready for like, main harvesting. I see pictures other people send me and they look massive and beautiful and green. So this is the greenest my thumb will get. It's good enough for me, but I've definitely seen better.
Wow, you're doing an awesome job, and it's great that your products give those who struggle in that area, like myself, a way to do it. Cindy, can you share maybe 3 of your top sustainable laundry tips that we can all learn from?
I'd love talking laundry. So I would say number one is to get the most natural products you can find. And so hopefully they'll include LooHoo wool dryer balls, but then also a stain removal stick and your detergent as natural as possible. And get them at a refill shop if you have one near you. A lot of places have refill shops nearby where you can bring in old containers, the mason jars, maybe Tashana's old jars there. And so just being able to refill these things instead of buying that container over and over and over again is absolutely wonderful and totally possible. The other thing I would recommend is definitely washing less, which I know a lot of people, it takes some people a little bit of getting used to, but maybe not washing that sweater or the pair of jeans over and over and over again, giving it a 2 or 3 or 4 times of wearing it, hanging it up, letting it air out before washing it again. So washing less would be number 2, and then definitely washing full loads on cold. That's always a definite benefit as well. I'm still trying to convince my mom not to just throw in 2 shirts and run a load of wash. So just kind of waiting till it builds up a little bit in order to really be washing less in general and just doing less laundry.
Right, well, thanks for those tips. Well, I'm very conscious of the time. I want to make sure Debbie has time for Q&A. So just wanted to say thank you to each of you for spending time with us. You all have such unique and inspirational stories. It's really been a pleasure to be able to speak with you. And so with that, I'm actually going to turn it back over to Debbie so we can do our live Q&A. So Debbie, back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave. These were all such incredible stories. And as Dave mentioned, for the last few minutes, we'd like to open the floor to questions. So please feel free to send a message in the Zoom Q&A at the bottom of your screen with any questions that you have. And let's get started. We already have a question in the Q&A section. So Bjorn, this one is for you. Will BjornQorn be adding flavor toppings for sale?
I have thought about it. It's kind of like one of those things where you wish that the macaroni and cheese company would just sell you the seasoning, and you wouldn't have to bother with the other stuff. But there are some occasions where we have done that, like for movie theaters. So like the local movie theater around here has a little BjornQorn seasoning jar there. I'm not totally against the idea. It's just not happening anytime soon, I don't think.
That's fair. We will all wait to see if there's anything else. In the meantime, we'll just buy your popcorn at the, online or at the store and enjoy it that way. Tashana, you had mentioned that when, you didn't realize when you're starting your business, how hard it would be from like a managing your books perspective and how awesome QuickBooks is. So this is a question really for all of you. What do you love most about Mailchimp and or QuickBooks? And what would you want to improve if you have a magic wand? Because we have many listeners who work on those products, so I'm sure they're eager to know how they can help you. So Tashana, I'll start with you and then we'll go around.
Yeah, shout out to the UI team. It's beautiful and makes it really easy to just be seamless, and it's just beautiful and easy to use. So thank you for that. UI UX team. And what else? circle back.
Okay.
Cindy, Bjorn.
Yeah. Cindy, how about you?
Let's see. So we use Mailchimp every week. Automating is always such a great thing because a lot of times we're building up our monthly marketing and just being able to kind of put it all together and then schedule it out later, which we're really always grateful for. I can't think of anything that would really kind of make life easier. It really, there's so many helpful ways that each of these programs have helped us, just with automating things, follow-ups with our customers and things like that. So we're always so grateful for things like that, just making our lives a little easier, which is great.
I know she had a magic wand to do that for all aspects of life. Bjorn, anything that would help you run your business through those products?
Yeah, well, we started our business on QuickBooks, so it is a little bit like breathing air for me at this point. Like it's something I do every day, and I do it actually for 4 different companies now. The books, that this company, and also this roller skating company we started because we're opening up a factory in a roller skating rink nearby here, and so I'm running a roller skating rink now too. But I guess in terms of the recommendations, I think it'll be nice when the day comes where there is like an AI assistant that can help me make reports, so I can just ask what I'm interested in seeing, maybe with graphs and stuff, and then it can just understand what I mean, because it is hard to build the reports in the way that you need them, and you go through a lot of struggling. And if I just had some assistant to help me with that, that would be really nice.
Noted. We are investing heavily in AI, so hopefully that'll be coming soon to you. Um, Now, all of you run such incredible sustainable businesses, and I'm curious, and I think other people are as well, but what are the other brands and companies that you admire for their sustainability practices? Have there been any that you've observed where you're just like, wow, and either modeled some things off of them or have just always been really impressed with how they operate? And I'll switch it up this time. Bjorn, we'll start with you and we'll go around.
Well, Patagonia, for one, what they have done has been extremely impressive. And any company that just stands behind their product and isn't just trying to get you to throw it away and buy new. I like anybody that does that. I really appreciate. So yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, Patagonia is doing some really, really impressive things. We as a company admire them too. Tishana, how about you?
I would say the one that strangely comes to mind would be H&M because of their buyback program, or like their donate program, and their incentive to give back the clothing for 20% or whatever it is in their store. But the fact that they take the clothes and either reuse them or whatever they do, hopefully it's good things. I just love that concept of being able to recycle in that way. Mhm.
Yeah, no, love a good take back program. It's amazing to be able to have that go back into the cycle for new products. Cindy, how about you?
I would definitely say Eileen Fisher. I think that their company is just so incredible of what they do, with sourcing their materials, where people are on the ground actually visiting the fields that cotton is growing in and things like that, and really, really taking ownership of that sustainability and making it, part of their entire business, which is just wonderful and lovely.
Yeah, they're also an incredible brand doing amazing things in the apparel space. We do have a couple more questions in the Q&A, so I want to get to them. Cindy, this one is for you from Kelly. First of all, she's loving hearing all of your stories. But Cindy, can you talk about adding scents to wool dryer balls?
Sure. So that's always a big one. And that was one decision that we made early on that we weren't going to scent the balls ourselves. And so that's something that you can do at home. If you have some good quality essential oils, you can add drops of essential oils to the wool balls if you want some nice natural fragrances. And we do recommend trying it either near the end of your dry cycle or even after your clothes are completely dry, adding the scents to the balls and putting it back into the dryer on no heat. And so sometimes it just depends on the oil. The smells could dissipate by the time you got to the end if you did it at the beginning. So if you really wanted those scents in there, just adding it in near the end.
Ooh, I'll have to try that. Do you have any recommended scents? I know lavender is always popular, but do you have any others?
Right. So lavender, I think, is always the number one. But now that spring and summer are here, I think lime and lemon would be a great, like, just a refresher in like towels and things like that. I think that could be a lot of fun.
Oh, no, yeah, I'll have to try that. And then this is a question I think for all of you from Rika. Do you use other applications to complement QuickBooks like inventory management? Again, we have a lot of our uh, product managers and engineers tuning in, so always curious to get feedback from customers. So for those of you who uses QuickBooks, all right. Oh, everybody. So all of our QuickBooks users, do you use other applications to complement them? Tishana, do you use other applications like inventory management or anything else?
I don't necessarily use an inventory system. I have in Shopify, there's, a way to like track your inventory that way. But I would say, and then pen and paper, because I'm old school like that. But I would say QuickBooks is like the main that my go-to. Mhm.
Okay, Bjorn, how about you? Any other applications?
Yeah, we have a number of applications that we've used either integrated or separately. We just started getting our feet wet with some inventory management with Odoo. And I do some receipt capture stuff, even though I know QuickBooks has that feature. I've been using Zoho Expense a little bit because I find it's pretty quick on the go. And Google Docs quite a bit. Airtable for some database production log stuff. And then we have like Sassant is an app we use for bulk uploading invoices. And yeah, I guess that's all I can think of right now.
No, that's a great list. Thank you for sharing that. Cindy, how about you? Do you use any other applications?
Not other applications for inventory management. No, we usually are Google Sheets and just trying to keep track of it that way.
I mean, makes sense. Got to do what you got to do, right, in a business to keep track of everything. Well, since we are at the top of the hour, we are going to wrap up our small biz pop-up. So I just want to extend a huge thank you to Cindy, Bjorn, and Tishana, and everyone else for joining our virtual small biz pop-up. And if you want to order any of their products, which I highly recommend, and help support these businesses, check out the link we just posted in the Zoom chat. And if you want to take even more planet positive action, visit our newly launched sustainability microsite on Insight to find channels, resources, and tools. You'll even be able to find recordings of all of our events that we had this week. And we'd love some feedback. So please do keep an eye out for a short survey at the end of this Zoom session. And thank you again so much for joining and for supporting our sustainable small businesses. And enjoy the rest of your day and have a great weekend, everyone. So take care. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.